Good morning, and welcome back to the show. This is Why is Tiffany So Talented, the episode of Small Project Alert. So, on this small project, I get to recreate one of my beautiful projects. I did this red and gold vintage rose. I'll put it here on a Small Project Alert in the past, and this time I get to make a variation of it in purple, whites, ABs, silvers. It is so gorgeous, and I'm already done. And of course I'm gonna show you the process, so let's go take a look at it right now. It's gorgeous, and there's a piece de resistance as well. Let me show you. Small project alert, small project alert. If you wanna learn, small project alert. Come on, share, it's your turn. Small project alert. Small project alert. So I'm creating a rose, something similar to the red one that I had made for this red and gold old Hollywood glamour. I'll put the video over here somewhere for the rose. And what I'm doing is cutting out these shapes. I'm gonna add a wire going through it so I can manipulate them into the shape that I need them. Cut out this center section, fold this over, and then let it dry and cut it out. So that's gonna be the open petals. So now what I'm gonna do is draw my closed petals, maybe only about 6 of them because the flower is supposed to be small. So let's do that. So these are the 2 shapes we're going for the leaves, no, for the petals. And this is the shape we're going for the 2 leaves that's gonna be on. But unfortunately, we ran out of the little metal wire. So I'm just gonna have to put this small project on hold until tomorrow. And we're gonna work on making this chain. To make this necklace, the first thing you want to do is use a yard length of blue painter's tape out, and then what we're going to do is move this dress over here. We're going to measure this drape in the back. So I'm gonna grab my measuring tape. So what I did was tack my measuring tape 16 inches across. So that's about 8 down and 8 in the middle. And then I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 inches down. Okay, so at a second glance, I see the necklace connects in the front and it connects on the bottom here. So I'm just gonna make an extra long rope and we're gonna do it like that. So around the front, down 34, maybe 38 to give her room for when she wants to bend. So I'll make this chain about 38 inches, a little longer than what my yard tape is, but that's fine. So I redid my tape for 40 inches, which would land me at the middle of 20, which the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 will show to the front of the necklace while it wraps around her neck in the back. So I'll take heed to make something really pretty in the design here in the front. Mailman's leaving, and then the rest of it will dangle around the back. So I don't really have any special design in mind. I just know I want to add these pears to the center to make a pretty simple center piece that's gonna sit right in the middle of the throat. So I have these beautiful purple ignite stones, so I'm gonna add a 30 right to the center and then frame it with these 2 pears, and that's pretty much gonna be my centerpiece. all I'm really doing is creating a pattern of all of the different types of purple that I pulled for the dress and creating a line to make this chain. So I'm adding these ones face up because I want to remember what stones are which. That one doesn't go there. That one goes here. Okay, this is how far I got so far. Almost, 9 inches left on either side. Oh, it's taking forever. Finally, it's done. Well, at least the laying out of the stones. Now, what I'm gonna do is put my scrunchy kind of thing that I use to make my chains. It's just some power mesh with a zigzag stitch in it just to keep it strong. I'm gonna glue that to this first layer of stones and then glue the coordinating stone right on top. And we're back. Day 2 of Small Project Alert. And my little chainy chain is dry. So that's going here on this dress. Let's see. So it's gonna go like this around the neck. Then it's going to connect and then hang down. And I see that it is not long enough. It might be if I connect it all the way to the tip. Oh, Tiffany, I underestimated my length. I thought 36 would be, 40 inches would be enough. Okay, so it looks just the way I wanted it to from the front. Cute little jump off design. And it's not long enough in the back. So what I'm gonna do is connect it here like the design shows. And then I'm gonna add maybe 2 inches to the bottom of this and continue the design down because it needs to have some slack for when she arches her back so it doesn't just pull too taut. I'm so sad. I thought I measured it perfectly. Oh well. But it's pretty though. Ask me how I underestimated. I would think that even the weight of the stones would stretch it a little more. So the 40 inches would still work. I digress. Well, so let me show you what I did. I cut 4 inches of this same elastic, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand stitch this together like that, and then I'm going to make sure that I add a big stone, preferably one of these pairs, to this intersection to make sure that it is nice and secure, and then just continue my pattern all the way down because I mean, what else can we do? We're not going to scrap this piece just because it's not long enough. So I guess you would call this a dilemma. Alright, so I've got both sides done. My transition falls under these purple ones here on this one, and it falls under this one on the AB. So once they dry, we'll stretch test them and then apply it to the dress. So this is finally long enough. I'm gonna put a snap here, then I'm gonna connect these ends, one on one side, one on the other, with one of these metal loops here and a snap, maybe a bigger one. Yeah, just because they be having those nails on and want her to be able to get it easily. Real quick, let me show you what I'm doing. So I'm just sewing the hook or the hoop onto the inside. Can you see? Oh yeah, kind of like an embroidery, just to keep it safe. Alright, so this hook is done. What I did here was just sew the small loop, well, put the small loop inside the clip. Just like it has a little hole here, put one of the hoops inside the clip, and then I sewed the hoop to the end of the chain. You see how I left this little space? I sewed the hoop to the chain and then surrounded it in stone. So that is that side done. Now this side, I'm gonna sew directly to the garment. Yeah. Alright, so this is done. That is the stitch. I just sewed it to the back, added some glue, and it is done. Now I need to find the center for the V. Let's stand it up and do that. I don't like how it looks. I like how this is down here. I don't like the connection that I made here. So what I did was add 2 O loops to the center of the back and a clip, the tiniest clip I had to clip them together, but it's not right. I think if I just sew it together and leave enough of this up here for her to just toss it over her head, that would be enough. I don't know. I don't like this though. We'll get into that. Maybe I can do a dilemma video for that, because I'll get into that later. But for now, I do have the wire for my rose petals. So we're gonna jump back into doing the roses until I figure out what I'm gonna do with that chain. This is actually my favorite part of the process of making these roses. So I have my open panel roses. My frame has already been drawn. So I'm trying to mold the piece of wire to fit exactly the way that I need it to fit. Then I'm gonna throw a bead of glue right on top, cut the piece out just in half, and fold the fabric over. So once you fold the fabric over, you kind of want to mold that glue down into the shape that you want it to be and let it dry. So here I'm doing it again, and I'm gonna jump into the closed panel flower petals as soon as I'm done with this one. And it's the same process, except for in those open ones you're cutting out that bottom arch. So here are the closed panels, and you just want to shape your metal and get it as close as possible within maybe a half an inch from that line. Or if you can get it right on the line, then you're going to do it like that. It's really not that hard to do, but it's tricky. It is tricky. It's a fun process though. Everything that is dry is nice and wired up and cut out. Everything that's not is still drying and wait to get cut. I cannot wait to start stoning these beautiful petals. It's gonna be gorgeous. when you're cutting out your pieces, you want to make sure that you stay right up against that line as close as possible, because if you don't, you might have to go back in and add some glue to the tips because it'll be open. And you don't want it to be open. Even though we're going to stone over it, you still want to keep everything nice closed and secure. So here's an example of one that I did not cut close enough to that line, and I felt like it needed to be just a little bit bigger on one of the sizes. So what I'm going to do here is go back in and just close that intersection right there, and then kind of squeeze it together and wipe off the excess glue. And that will keep it nice and secure. Plus, we're gonna stone over it anyway. I got all of my pieces made. So now we're gonna go into stoning them. And I forgot about this beautiful purple opal that we have. What is that? Cyclamen? And this rose water. I like this cyclamen because it gives it like a grayish kind of tone. I like it. I think it'll look good on here. See? Perfect. And then for a lighter tone, this rose water pulls in some of the pink, but still keeps it purple. It's reading really light here. Okay, so we won't use the rose water, but we'll definitely use the cyclamen. So I've got some purple ignite, that chlamycin, some electric purple, and some lavender delight, some white electric, and some AB. So we're gonna make this beautiful flower. I think it's gonna be pretty, nice and small, but just enough pop. I added some leaves to it, one for the top, one for the bottom, because it looks elongated in the drawing. I think it'll be gorgeous. So I got a couple of cute little examples done. So this is what the full petals are gonna look like. I did a double frame on those. I have the lines marked out for those center lines. I did the bent petals, I guess you would call them, and the lines inside of there. I just finished my open petals double frame. I need to triple frame it with the AB, and then I think I'm gonna throw some of this electric white in the line, so it'll be 4 times framed basically. I haven't done anything to the petals yet, but once I'm done, we'll play with the placement. I'm almost done, so I did go in with that white in the middle, and then these are how the rest of the petals came out. So now I'm working on the leaves to the flower. I framed them in the white, and you can see the pink wire in the inside, so I'm definitely going to cover that up, but it's looking good so far. So isn't it lovely? So I pinned it in place, and I realized that I did not make a centerpiece, so I made one with the most gigantic crystal I found. So that's gonna go center there. And then I made a separate one to go on this shoulder too. But that's gonna be gorgeous, isn't it? Ugh. Now I just need to sew it down. I got everything nice and sewed down, you see? So everywhere where I had a pin that was holding it up is where I sewed it down. To set all of the little intersections. Then I went and bent all of the petals in the placement that I want them in. And then I added my piece de resistance to the center. Now I have to let that dry because it is very large and it has a protruding back. So I had to add a super amount of glue. That's why you see glue all over my fingers. But it's gonna be gorgeous. And this one is gonna go here. I figured it out. As you can see, I already started my stoning because I figured it out. It's so pretty too. Let me show you. So On this episode of Small Project Alert, I had to make this beautiful chain, which you see I got it there. But the problem was getting this V perfect, and it's still not perfect, but it's as perfect as it's going to get. So let me show you what I did. So I found this applique and I sewed it to the applique. I sewed the chain to the applique, added a snap here and a little piece of finger elastic. So this finger elastic wraps around the other side of the chain. Excuse the chalk on my hands, like that. And I sewed the other side of the snap like that. So then you fold it over and pop it in just like that. And now I got my V. Perfect. So this is the front of what the necklace looks like. And this is the final form of the flower. So I did add my gigantic chunk crystal stone in the center, and I ended up having to do a sort of double frame, triple frame if you will, just to cover up some of the bottom. Same with this one over here. So I added some ABs around the bottom and then triple framed it with the lilac lacquers around the edge. I think it's gorgeous, beautiful, amazing. Small Project is done. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Small Project. I know it went kind of fast. If you did miss anything and you feel like you need a little more one-on-one understanding of how I created this beautiful flower and the chain in the back, feel free to leave it in the comments or email me at tiffanysotalented@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. See you in the full creation video of the dress, right? You're gonna watch that one too, right? Because it's coming out so pretty. Check it out. Oh.